As you can see from that video, it's okay. Straight out of the box, that was with nothing done to it. I hadn't adjusted anything on it. Tires are exactly the same. Hadn't even put oil in the shocks. Didn't take anything apart to make sure everything was greased. Definitely sounds like there's a little bit of binding somewhere in there. I'm gonna guess one of the axles most likely, but I'll be taking apart the transmission and the axles to make sure everything's at least greased. I'm also curious to see what gears are metal and what gears are plastic. Like I suspected, it's a little bit top heavy. It does like to roll a little bit. I think the tires are definitely holding it back. There were some areas on there that other trucks have zero issues with, that this had issues with, but there were also a couple areas that some trucks struggle, and this one just went right up it, and I think it's all just a matter of weight distribution, honestly, at that point. There's definitely room for improvement on it, but it's good out of the box. Like, it's an awesome truck straight out of the box. So definitely going to be looking at putting oil in the shocks, like I said, making sure everything's greased up and nothing's binding and everything's set properly. Going to do some shock adjustments as far as positioning. You can kind of see in this video right here, shocks are a little bit more of an angle than stock. So I'm testing some things. The problem that I'm running into with that, though, is I can't really go any lower. I want to set it lower. However, the front steering links actually hit the frame rails. Right out of the box, they were set just about as low as they could go without running into an issue. But right now, they actually hit. So have to look at what I need to do for that. With the way the frame rails are set up on here, there's a chance I could cut part of it, but then I'll lose my front bumper mount. Not too upset about that because the front bumper is most likely coming off of this anyway, but I was kind of thinking I was going to run a different front bumper, like make a front bumper for it. But now, I mean, you can see I kind of have a mess of wires here. Everything's all taken off. I'm going to be making some side trays so that I can reposition the receiver and ESC so that they're up front, and then I'll probably make a different battery tray so I can run a different battery on here, because I don't really care for that heavy of a battery. I don't run these trucks long enough at a time that that's an issue. So I'd rather get a lightweight battery and be able to have more weight up front rather than having that heavy battery in the back. But what I was thinking is I might be able to cut the frame rails right here at the suspension and body mount and then sand all that, or grind all that smooth. That also solves the other issue of the servo hitting the frame rails. I did just recently clip the sides of the servo there. It helped a little bit, but it still binds. You can see, I don't know if it'll show up on the video, but you can see where it's been rubbing right there. That would solve that issue as well. The only downside to it is then there would definitely be no chance of a front bumper mount. Not sure I'm upset about that though, because the other thing that I'm having with this front bumper mount is the servo horn, the nut that's on the servo horn is actually hitting the front bumper mount itself. So none of that will allow the suspension to drop any lower than what is stock on it. I'd like for it to sit at about this level, because I'd like to go even lower and drop these mounts down as far as they'll go, or drop the shocks down as far as they'll go, so that I can get as much articulation as possible out of it, and then also keeping the weight down as low as possible. The other thing that does though is, if you look at it from the side, that actually drops the skid lower than the axles. Not that that's that big of an issue, because they're not going to be lower than the tires, of course. So there is a limit to how low you go with these trucks. My next time running this truck, I'll have some side trays made up for it, different battery mount. I'll be running a different battery. I'll have these mounted in a different position, so I'll have the receiver on one side and the ESC on the other side. I'll just have some other things kind of bolted up and adjusted. Oh, the other thing, went to run some just pretty generic Endura 1-inch bead locks on here with some nicer tires, and the bead locks actually hit the portals. So I'm gonna either have to do some spacers back here so that it sets them out far enough that they don't rub the portals, or I'm gonna have to go with something with a little bit bigger wheel like what they went with here, which I believe are a 1.2-inch wheel on this. So I'll have to see what's out there for spacers because if I can, I would like to do that and just run a 1-inch wheel with a bigger tire. That way I get a little bit more squish on the tire, basically, so that it'll conform to rocks a little bit better, have a little bit more grip. But yeah, I'll try a couple of different wheels out that I have, see if I can get that to work. That'll probably be the next video, is wheels, setting up the suspension, possibly chopping the front of the frame rails off, and then the repositioning of different components in there. If you like this video, please subscribe, leave a comment, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know why. But thanks for watching.